Good evening. Welcome to this edition of Health and Wellness. My name is Dennis Aseto and this is KTN. Now, today we want to talk about a conversation that many men especially don't want to discuss. And this is about erectile dysfunction. Now, there is erectile dysfunction and also hypoactive sexual desire disorder in female. And this is considered to be a disability. Now, we're going to have this discussion from the aspect that is it covered by the Social Health Authority, that is a shift that we have in the country today? If not, what must we do for it to be looked at as a concern? Because remember, as a family, what role do men play in creating that family? Now, this is interesting because Dr. Benson Kibore is here. He took a petition that is before Parliament, and it's expected that these will be discussed on the floor of the House, and perhaps a solution to this be arrived at. Dr. welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. you just woke up and decided to draft a petition, take it to Parliament because there is a concern. Why?
I didn't wake up one day just to draft this petition.
Yeah.
It's a matter of societal research, what happens within societies. And actually, I was amused by the level of, and the level of the conversation that has gone through this petition that I did. It has been not just a one-day activity. I have done research on the matter. I have looked at all the spheres of low libido, from the young generation, the Gen Zs, to the elderly. Yeah. And I had a whole conversation also with some of the persons that assisted me in this research. To shock you a bit is that on an average age of 20 to 27, 1 in every 10 young person has erectile dysfunction.
1 in what again?
1 in every 10. So when you work
10 people,
yes,
1.
Yes. So amongst us here, one of us, okay, let's say, it's a fact. Now, Kenya-wise, the data indicates that about 10% of the population, of the men, has erectile dysfunction. And that percentage even increases when you approach the age of 45 and above. Data that we have and that I've checked is that it even increased to about 46% of the population. Bring it home, it means that 1 in every 10 young person cannot make a family. Yet, Article 45 of the Constitution gives the foundation of the statehood that is a family. It gives that the rights of each person to consummate, to have a family. Then you look at it, at the Marriage Act, you know, and what actually constitutes marriage. So shocking is such that if you read through case laws around divorce, and I've checked across many of them, you will find one reason that why women are divorcing men is because of depravity. Yeah. So the whole reason why I came up with this petition is simple. We have already put under statute that if one of the spouses is dissatisfied with the quality of sexual life within that family can break down. It is in the law. And so anyone can petition the court to end under Section 66 of the Marriage Act 2014. Bring it home is such that this is a topic that has never had a conversation deeply. Yet, every evening, when every man recedes to his home, Nothing is done at night if not this activity. We cannot have children when you have failed engines. I mean, it is just as simple as that. So basically, what I looked at is what is the definition of disability? It is the impairment that has the potential of causing someone not to function normally. If you look at data around erectile dysfunction, you will actually realize that most persons that have ED, or women, and not just men, I'm talking about women. There are women here whose functionality, is a whole problem. They can't really, married, has a boyfriend, but again can't rise to the occasion, simply because, I mean, the functionality of the of the systems is not working properly. Yet we are not talking about it. There are people who must invest in getting jail for them to have sex. I mean, why are we not talking about them? We have lost a lot of men in action because of getting what you call non-prescription or over-the-counter enhancing medicines. But we are not talking about it. We have so many that young people, the largest actually population now are utilizing. I had a conversation around people in campus and all this, and particularly even chemists around campus and all. The highest selling drug, is Viagra. I mean, why are we not talking about these things? Then you come also point home to say, when there is an impairment of an eye, it's a disability. When there is an impairment of a finger, it's a disability. When there is an impairment of a breast, it's a disability. When there is an impairment of a leg, it's a disability. Why is it not that when there is an impairment of a penis to function, it's not a disability? That's the question we must have.
And you see now, when you're talking about this discussion, then it's because it is a problem that has existed in the society for a very long time. Because you look at, like you've stated, where the provision of conjugal rights in a marriage setting is reason enough for that marriage to be dissolved. But then again, if you go further and look at some of the reasons, could be because of ED, erectile dysfunction, and then which brings about problems of that right or satisfaction when two are meeting. But this is a conversation that has really never been looked at as a disability. It is a conversation that has been looked at more as a medical problem. You know, you can go treat it and everything. But then with this then being on the floor of the house, now we know that the clerk is seized of this matter. Are we looking also to push this as a subject that should be covered by the national health insurance facilities that we will have?
Thank you very much. When you look at the classification of disabilities, all must go through a medical assessment.
Yes.
The foundation of my petition is such that we want an amendment of the Persons with Disabilities Act 2025 to include erectile dysfunction, to include hypoactive sexual desire disorder as a disability. So that what we need to have is to fruition now Article 43 or implement Article 43 of the reproductive rights. Because essentially what we have always believed is that reproductive rights are women's rights.
Yeah.
What we have even believed is that the Ministry of Gender is to deal with women issues. And that is the reason why you look at the issues that a boy child is going through. We think that it's starting from here. No, it is starting from the foundations of the laws that we make, the foundations of the society. If I have a problem and I have nowhere to run to, then it means that I will stay with that problem, allow that problem to kill me, and in essence, I'm going to infect everybody because family will die, economy will die. The larger, what I call, esteem. We bringing young people, men who do not have, the self-esteem has gone down. Yeah. So what I'm looking at is in this petition is such that you look also at the SHA regulations 2024, and you'll realize that most of those conditions listed there are conditions that you would say are conditions largely tilted towards women. There is no package within SHA to give it that you have that I have a condition of ED, and I have a package that can allow me to have a urologist get through to analyze my hormonal levels, get through to analyze the other elements that are indicators. And my petition also is to utilize this ED as a sentinel marker for cardiometabolic conditions. I'm looking at such things, and I was sharing, a friend called me and told me that some time back, 2 years ago, he actually got a heart attack. And this heart attack, one of the things he missed was that he had failed in his conjugal rights, because he had this problem, but because he thought, just taking the medications and all that, trying to, get over the condition and all that, he didn't know that that ED itself was an indicator of a problem with the heart. Is an indicator of a problem with your blood, with your other organs. So such that what we need is there's an express provision, a package within SHA in such a way that men can come out, yeah, and say, yes, my functionality is dead. Please help me to ascertain what is the problem. Is it at the level of, is it reversible or is it irreversible? The gist of my petition actually for the declaration that it be a disability are on the basis of those that are irreversible. There are people, and I've had one lady even called me and told me for the last, 5 years, it's been a sexless relationship. These things is real in households, and I'm happy even that women are the ones who have picked this petition much more than men, because they are feeling that it is time to address these issues. So what I am calling for is such that once it is declared a disability, okay, then we now move to the next processes that these persons have access to healthcare so that they can be taken through. Those ones that can be reversed. Probably you're having ED because of diabetes, you're having ED because of hypertension, you're having ED because of other indicators, things that I call may be reversible. Now, those ones that are irreversible, that in the judgment of a urologist is such that the functionality of the system in totality is such that it cannot be reversed, then that is a person who now gets the card and be issued with a disability card. Then what happens next? A person who has ED is functionally unproductive, because every time the esteem of this person goes down, it means the productivity of this person goes down. So it means also overall, if we have 10% of the population having ED, it means we have 10% non-productive Kenyans. And why are we not addressing their issues? And this is what I tell men, because you need to come out and defend this petition, because one, it will give you the right. Once you get a disability, let me give you the other benefits. Is that functionally, the PWD Act dictates that 5% of every employment you need to have to give to disabilities. So functionally, you are at the center of employment. Yeah. Secondly, institutions that actually hires a person with a disability get a reprieve of 25% of its income being non-taxable. So it means that institutions that will hire these persons will get that reprieve from paying from KRA, from paying that reduction in terms of the taxable income. If you have this card, it means you're not also required to pay your submit your pay, because you are protected in law to enjoy. Now, the other thing is you get the advantage of retiring at 65 years. Then I ask men, why God gave you an organ that has failed? Come out and just tell the world it's not working.
But
then,
Doc, that's where the crack of the matters are, because when you talk about ED out there, it is why you're finding that even university, young men out here are finding themselves popping the blue pill because they want to perhaps satisfy their partners, because what wanataka kupiga shughuli, you know, people must salute to the national anthem, you know. But even while at that, you find many men would never ever accept or would never sit down to have a discussion and say, I'm suffering from ED, this is a problem I have, and I take it as is. So how then do we rope in men or even women that we're also targeting with this petition to be part and parcel of this conversation, to open it up and agree that it's a problem and let's accept it to be so?
I agree.
Yeah.
The use of non-prescription sildenafil, that is Viagra, is at its highest.
Yes.
2-3 weeks ago, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board actually say that they could not account for some of the medicines.
Some are actually even fake.
Yeah, I'm saying they could not account some of these medicines circulating. That medicine, sildenafil, are side effects. So it means if you, and I was even telling my friend, you are lucky that you did not try to use sildenafil, because you would have gone and gone and gone, never to come back. Because in essence, what it has an effect on the heart. And you can imagine you are having a heart problem. That was one-way heart attack. Now, what we are doing in this petition is to protect, is to dignify persons under Article 28 of the Constitution, provide dignity to the persons who have this problem. It is not a crime to have a failed system. It is a crime to stay with it, because it will impact on your esteem. It will impact on your family. It will impact on the productivity of the nation. And it will impact on the overall structure of our statehood, that is the family. And that is the reason why I have come out and asked that, yes, we have a problem here. Part of the conversation that is going to happen, which we have asked Parliament, for example, is that, is this actually 10% we are talking about the true picture? Because remember that in that study, it was just voluntary information. And you know the way men are so caged, they don't give out this information. So one of the other aspects that I've asked Parliament is that we need to get the prevalence of ED in this country. That it's a problem that might be even bigger than the figures that I have provided. Because we need a comprehensive inquiry into this process. The other aspect that I've leading to this is that I have asked that we need to have a national sexual health policy. That is not just, you know, the other element, when we talk about sex and all issues, it has always been hijacked by, you know, persons that have interest around, you know, utilization of certain medications and all that, you know, certain international norms and all this. But this is now home. I think you've even seen the conversation that has happened and noting that it is a problem. And also to say that, and the reason why I'm marrying this petition to what I call the benefits, so that, you know, somebody may not come out if he doesn't know that there is a particular benefit that I'm going to get. But now there's an express benefit that you stand to gain directly that will impact also your livelihoods and the institution of your marriage, for that matter. So in essence, what this conversation is for the protection of Article 45, for the protection of Article 43 of the Constitution. So that as we move forward, we have a nation that can converse some of these issues and come up with a policy to address. I'm speaking on behalf of a man in Turkana whose systems has failed. Then how is he going to get assistance for that matter? What happens also to his family around that area? Yeah. I think this element of issues around Pangwakando and all these emanated because of this kind of a problem, because there is a failure in their homes. So what are we saying is that a man can decide now to wake up today, get to a urologist, get assessed. There is a package within SHA for particularly on a diagnosis, screening and diagnosis of ED, and in effect that now Parliament and the Minister of Health is now to come up with this policy on to cover all the stages of from the time I'm actually suspecting that I have ED, and even the first place is awareness. How do people become aware that they have ED?
They have ED. I think let's take a short commercial break. As we come back, we as well go deeper into this conversation and the policy, rather the petition that is before Parliament, and how then even through lobbying members of Parliament to look deeper into the same, as well as roping the entire ecosystem where would be doctors as well, women to support the civil society, because as we have seen, the petition seeks to declare ED a disability. Let's take a short commercial break. We'll be back with much more. Thank you for watching Health and Wellness. Welcome back. Remember, we keep saying that your health is your wealth. And here we are with Dr. Benson. Dr. Now, with this petition, there is the aspect that ED should be looked as a condition that affects quality of life. That through this petition, then, there are various ways that we're looking to address it. There is declaration of it being a disability. There is a cover from SHA. There is equally research and development that now as a country, this becoming a policy, that there would be intentional approach towards this with regard to finding a solution, right? Take us through the lobbying aspect then, where members of Parliament have to come on board, civil society, the medical field as well, to be part and parcel of this.
Thank you. I think we can't run away from what I call the bedroom crisis.
Yep. Yeah.
Because it is the foundation of the productivity of the nation. We can't run away that we've also seen a lot of domestic violence associated with such kind. We've seen women carrying placards that their men no longer function, or they have deserted their duties.
Can't rise to the occasion.
Can't rise to the occasion. We've seen in many places. We've seen in Muranga, we've seen in Narok, we've seen recently. I think there was an area that they said people have declared that, and I think it came from women somewhere. I think in Wasingishu. So one of the persons was actually he's arranging some men from somewhere to come and assist the men in that particular area, because they seem to have a lot of issues. I mean, these are societal problems, and we can't bury our heads in the sand when there is actually a crisis. Why should we continue to lose men in action? Because of utilization of a non-prescription medicine. It is not a mistake to have a failed engine. It's not. It is maybe just be an indicator, a marker that there is something going on within your body that is required to be looked into. And that is why I'm saying that a crisis in 10% of the population, the bedroom of the 10% of the population, is not something to be ignored. It is something for us all as a country, for Parliament to rise to the occasion. And I'm happy because we have more than 70% men in Parliament. And of course, some other reports say at some point, probably we have even lost some members of Parliament at some point because of such issues and all that. The health matters are confidential, but those are reports, the reports that come in. But now, what happens if the stakeholders, what happens if the media, what happens if Parliament does not rise to the occasion, if government does not rise to the occasion? It will mean that we have marital strife. And when we have marital strife, it directly affects productivity. A man who's been assaulted emotionally because of not rising to the occasion the following morning is not even, can't even perform anything in the office. The self-esteem. So it means also we will have much more of spousal infidelity. And what happens when we have spousal infidelity? You get much more of risks of sexually transmitted diseases. So as one way, and when they strive in families, it also boils down to children. Because when parents are not happy, it will mean that even still children will not be happy. And some of people have been asking me, Dr. You are a veterinary surgeon. What is your interest in particular area? And I've told them I've handled clients. Yeah? And the foundation of erectile dysfunction actually, and all the interventions that we do in humans have to be perfected first in animals. We have to perfect them in monkeys, for that matter, to be rolled out in humans. So essentially, we are the cornerstone of the reproductive health, and we have the rise. If you look at it very closely, there is a rise in terms of fertility interventions. Yeah? The assisted reproductive technologies that are coming, it's basically on the rise. Why? Because you will actually assume much of it to issues of ED. One of the studies I checked recently is that actually, and there's even a larger problem, is that infertility or the fertility of men in Kenya has actually gone down drastically. That means the chances of a man, making a woman pregnant has gone down drastically. And one of the areas is also associated with ED. So basically what we are talking about is that these are real issues in society that we cannot ignore. The distress that is causing families, the distress that is causing relationships. Like I told you earlier, why should we have divorces because of issues of non-satisfaction, for that matter? And I was even looking at it. Once at that point that we brought it to the statute that you can petition end of a marriage because of not being satisfied, or your conjugal rights denied, either, I don't know, willingly or unwillingly. And unwillingly now boils down to the problem of the ED itself. And that is why we cannot continue to ignore this matter. It is something that we need to speak. I know men are it's a closed package that really don't want anyone to know what is going on. But essentially, we are attaching to say your masculine identity is largely around what happens in a home. If that is lost, as a man, you have lost identity. And this identity, what we are saying is, you don't have to lose your self-esteem, reduce your productivity, suffer in distress. Let's come out, let's have a package through a SHA, let's have a package, render it as a disability so that men can come out. Men also can enjoy the rights, because it's not just to say that it is about women. So even if women are okay, who will service the women, if you ask? I mean, if men are not functionally okay, it means there is also a whole larger problem. What is the conversation around this place is also to have the insurance companies enhance package for men for the purposes of screening and medical attention for men who are having this particular problem, so that we have developed the clinical guidelines for the screening, the diagnosis, the referral, management, and rehabilitation of persons. It's not just enough to be declared that you have a disability. What is the rehabilitation processes that also we put in place in such a way that we also don't expose the men that have been given a PWD card to ridicule and all that? Yes.
Yeah. You know, when you look at such conversations, then one would ask, men, how have they received this petition? Second of all, where now we talk about even rehabilitation, there is the aspect of then research and development, as I said earlier, and what then will be informed with this petition. So how have men responded to this petition? Are we seeing more supporting it?
In fact, confidentially, the calls that I've received out of this petition is enormous. I have been trying to manage. In fact, what I have, and I'm looking also for persons to support us, men to support us in this petition, because it is overwhelming. The response has been overwhelming. I think it only required someone to trigger, because I think there is also a point that men have reached dead end in terms of this issue. Somebody confesses that, yes, I am on dependency on sildenafil, blue pill continuously. I cannot rise to the occasion without it. And I think that recognition in itself would put me much further. And I was even joking with some of them to say, marriage is a contract. Yeah. Sometimes what we have gotten are people not getting full disclosures of some of the conditions that we go through. You look at our establishment and either the cultural or the Christian setup, it's such that, I mean, there are things you don't talk about sexuality, for that matter, until such a time that you are totally married. It's such now you can confess to each other that I have a problem and all that. No, the essence of these, and I will still even be looking at it, how to amend, proposal to amend the Marriage Act to give effect for all parties engaging in a spousal relationship and marriage to have full disclosure. Why should you have representation such that you only realize that your man cannot perform once you're married, once you sign that particular paper? No. What makes it so difficult to say that your woman has hypoactive sexual desire disorder when you're already in the union? This I tell you, marriage is a contract, and these non-disclosures affect the unity within the marriage. So further to these conversations are also additions that we are now thinking to say, yes, somebody must make full disclosures and looking at those conditions around what makes people to get married, statutory conditions, and add one of them so that you have disclosures to this nature, so that if I have a card, a PWD card that says my system is not working well, you have that disclosure from day one, so that it is not about that I dupe you into a relationship that probably I have a problem, and I'm not able to disclose to you. I mean, we have to have an open conversation so that we have to have stability within families. Let this person, a lady who cannot, probably perform these rites, yeah, within a family, know that she needs attention from day one. Probably she's not gotten attention because of the cultural norms that we are, that we don't talk about these things until the registrar of marriage or the reverend or has sealed this thing. Then now we can now start to open to say, hey, then you realize somebody has a problem and all this. If you can imagine this 10%, 1 in every 10 young person having a problem, why is it not made a disclosure at marriage so that people can know that I'm marrying somebody who has a problem and I'm willing to work with you? Such that when you know that I'm marrying somebody with evidentially a PWD, and from there now you know that what are the rehabilitatory processes that you are going to engage. And so to me, it's about opening up conversation. In this conversation, I'm happy because men have taken on this thing. Some people are even now putting up an online, take it as an online petition in itself, full, and people can sign it up. And men are even saying that should Parliament not act on this thing, under Article 28, the right to dignity and non-discrimination, yeah, because what we are seeing is discrimination. Then they have a right even to petition the court if Parliament does not rise to the occasion. So by all means, this thing must come to a reality.
And you see, when we talk about ED in our societies today, we also live in a closed society where we think everything about reproduction or even standing up at night, it's been looked at a woman problem, But here now we're coming to realize that if a man can't rise to the occasion, then even the reproduction processes of that is a problem. So this is more pegged on even the future of a country, because some of the greatest countries that we have nowadays, you look at the population in China, their biggest resource is their people. Even Africa today, it said, the population that continues to grow in Africa is an indicator to a country, a continent of the future where its people will be able to push economies. Are we looking at it from that angle? And how can everyone, me, Macau, yourself, and everybody else, plug on this conversation to ensure that it does not just end at it being declared a disability, but that we're moving forward and even looking for better management, better hospital research, medical research to be done to it, and that women as well come and hold men and say we are here to support, because we also can't just leave it to men because it is affecting the family union.
The greatest resource of a country is its people, in particular its young people, because they are agile and they are actually the foundation of the productivity of a nation. Largely, and I think before this petition came up, ED has been looked like it's something of the elderly. Yeah. And even people think that, it's only where you find a problem, why are we addressing this thing, yet it is something
for those who've retired.
Yeah. It's an issue of, not us. But people didn't know that it is cropping home. When you have an indicator of your 10% of the population not okay, it means that you have a whole problem within the system. It will mean that you have, even in your national productivity index, is a problem. Now, the aspect of awareness first becomes very central to this matter. And that is why one of the ministries that have petitioned out of this is also the Ministry of Health. And for persons to understand that, our culture is criminalized ED, in effect. you are known that your system is not working. In fact, you cannot even be invited to even church, for example. When your fellow church members, church elders know that, or your youth know that your sexual organs are not functioning well, they seem like it's a whole problem that is, it's like we have sidelined and discriminated these persons, even in our thoughts. And that is why, with the development of new screening, faster screening, and medically sound procedures to correct some of those what I call reversible failures, then it is a whole reason why men and everyone in society, because I tell you this, you are a woman, but you have a son. And that son of yours might be having an ED.
Yeah.
You are a father, yes, but your son might be having an ED. It is your role to check that there is, within continuation of family, for that matter. So it is in your interest. You have parliament. The interest of a parliamentarian and a politician is on the numbers.
Yes.
So if, for example, there is a problem of ED within society, who will elect you? Yeah, who will elect you? We were proud as Africa to be having the youngest population in the world. A country like China, like Germany, almost the entire of Europe, the average age, is such that you having, the average between the young and what you call the productive age of society is very low. And that's why they're looking at Africa as the next frontier of the workforce, be it in AI, be it in in healthcare and all this. And that's why, as a country also, we developed a policy around persons going to work. Kazimaju program, so that we have, we supply labor to those particular countries. But what happens in the next coming years when these studies point, because also it's associated with our other aspects, how we eat, what do we eat at the moment? What are we taking every day? What exercise are we doing? What, all these aspects that contribute now to the functionality of the heart, because it's the functionality of the heart that establishes the functionality of the sex organ. Now, for this matter, it calls on all stakeholders to rise to the occasion. What I only did was to be a mouthpiece of a problem, of a crisis. And I think if you've listened to some of these programs, you find someone as skilled as who, the other man skilled, because of the strife. And it is not a one-day activity. You'll actually realize that it is cumulative of failures that now results in some of these, what I call negative norms within the families.
Doc, as we wind down, one then asks the question, what is your prayer to Parliament? What is your prayer to the society? And what's your clarion call to the men?
First, let me start with the men. And let me say this. It is either you have an erectile dysfunction or you are a potential client of erectile dysfunction. There's no choice about it. Because data points that as you age, the statistics indicate that you are likely to get an ED, particularly at the age above 45 years. So in one way, what I'm asking, and I'm asking all men, is that this is a problem that we've buried for so long. I'm asking all men that, yes, you are the foundation of the society, the hope of a family, and the future of our statehood. And so it is upon us as men first to get up and support this petition across all the spheres, and particularly, and I'm even addressing because Parliament is made up of 70% men. And I know within they are the ones who passed the SHA Act.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they did not mind to include ED. And so what I'm saying is we have raised a crisis, and it is actually a crisis within society, that I'm calling on Parliament to rise to the occasion. I am ready and willing to come and prosecute this case when invited for the committee.
The committee stages.
To actually dig deeper. And I'm also inviting all the actors. It's not just about, when you look, all the family actors, because I don't want to say those, women have actually gone a little bit far in terms of securing their rights. You even know that they have included majority of these things, even the insurance covers and all this. What am I saying is that the foundation of a family starts with a man.
Yes.
And so men has to be given this platform. Let us amend the PWD Act to include sexual dysfunction, ED as a disability. And let us provide for a man with ED in Turkana County to get access to medication, to get access to opportunities, and to get access to to enjoy life as any other man.
A good place to end. Dr. Benson Kibore is the petitioner of this petition that is before Parliament, that is christened Ending the Bedroom Crisis in Kenya. He is calling upon everybody, men, the society, the clergy, Parliament, and the medical field, everybody to plug into this to find a solution to ED problem in the society. I want to thank you, Asante Sana. Conversations definitely continue, and we'll be looking forward to how Parliament will react to this petition in the coming days. And be sure that Health and Wellness will be there to bring you blow by blow, wall-to-wall coverage of the same. My name is Dennis Aseto. Asante Sana, as we keep on saying, your health is your wealth. Until next time, goodbye.